Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kesme 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Cost of dialysis across the country increased by almost 30% as prices inch closer to the 500 cedi mark. Or hear from renal patients as they express worry. Also, opposition NDC describes police's arrest of its MP Collins Dauda as unprofessional, denying the involvement of the Asutifi South MP in the electoral violence in Kokom that left several hospitalized in the Afful region. We'll bring you details. Also in this package, residents of Jaglu in the Wa West district are self-medicating as the only CHIPS compound in the area has been abandoned without resources and equipment.
I find it extremely frustrating to seek health service in my community. When a woman is in labor, we usually have to transfer.
Stay with us for the details. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, the cost of dialysis has been increased by almost 30% at various health facilities across the country. This comes at a time when patients have been urging the government to come to their aid to address the rising cost. In the past, it cost patients some 380 Ghana cedis per dialysis session. Well, it's now inching closer to 500 cedis. Let's take a look at the price change at some facilities. Old price 380 cedis. Now the new price is 491, effective Sunday, May 12, 2024. That's yesterday. Now Thomas Khan has visited the renal unit at Cape Coast Hospital and joins us. Mr. Khan himself is a renal patient. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good afternoon.
How are you and others who have renal issues reacting to this 30% hike in the cost of dialysis?
It's a very worrying and devastating news to all of us. Already, when this increment was announced, we've had one patient who almost went into coma just because of the announcement. Because already here at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, they were charging 350. And suddenly, the price just goes up to 490. This woman was just thinking about how she was going to pay for it, because already at 350, we've always been calling on government to help reduce their cost, because many of us are not able to afford, and even the prescribed 3 sessions a week, a lot of us are not able to do it. Quite a number of us were just doing twice a week instead of 3. And then the others were just doing once a week, which also compounds the problem, because once you have 3 sessions a week, at least it helps you, it gives you some kind of relief. But if you are just doing once a week, it becomes more problematic. And this is a condition that because the kidneys are not functioning well, some toxins find themselves in your body, which has to be taken out of the system because the kidneys are not functioning well. And unfortunately, because of cost, people are not able to get the proper treatment and care that they have to get.
Let me ask you personally, how are you going to deal with this?
In fact, this is really heartbreaking, and it's just so worrying that you depend on family and friends to help you. For instance, if I come to you today and you help me, for instance, with some money to pay for my session, and you can't do that all the time, and here's the case that the cost has gone up, it becomes problematic, because whoever is going to help you, it becomes a worry for the person to also do a top-up to even support you. And that is the worry of many. That is what many of us here are thinking about. And it's very unfortunate. The whole thing is not just about the dialysis, paying for the dialysis session, because the other medications that accompany it, all those medications have seen some hikes in the prices. So it's a serious problem that we are talking about. And unfortunately, You come here, machines are broken down. You know, a patient population of about 60, and we only have about 3 or 4 machines that are functioning, 7 or about over 60 patients, and each session takes 4 hours. So imagine you come and there's a queue, and there's even just one person who comes before you. The number of hours that you have to wait. So you wait like 4 hours, and you also go on the machine for 4 hours. And just in a day, for instance, about 25 to 30 people sharing about 4 machines. Look at the number of hours that you have to spend in the hospital or in a queue to just get your session. So it's really a serious matter that government has to really look at, because people are dying as a result of the cost.
Let me just ask you briefly again before you go. I know that Kolebu, the issue started from Kolebu when there were, Kolebu was trying to say that we need money to be able to also meet our costs and all of that. Listening to you, it doesn't sound like you and perhaps other people in the same situation as you were prepared for this increase at this time.
Yes, I think that what the hospital authorities are saying somehow kind of sounds a bit reasonable, because, the consumables that are used for the dialysis are imported. So they are just providing the service, and they are saying that they are doing it and they are under recovering, because they are not getting any profit out of the services that they are providing. Because, one, what the dollar rates are, and then the import duties and all of that. So, for instance, if all these import duties and taxes on the consumables are scrapped off, I'm sure that will also help bring the cost of dialysis down. But unfortunately, all these import duties, the dollar rate and all of that, that is one of the contributing factors. And we think that if government should help in that manner, by scrapping all these taxes or even reducing it, it will help us. And again, you remember there were concerns that health insurance should absorb that. And we've been calling for that. Unfortunately, we've not seen or heard anything about that. And we wish that maybe something could be done to save a lot of people from dying, because people are dying because of the cost.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Thomas Khan. Quite a worrying situation there. He's a broadcast journalist as well as somebody who needs renal attention, telling us the situation as it is. We'll be connecting to Noble Cosby Annan, who's visited the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, to bring us the latest from there. But earlier, he spoke to a patient at that hospital also to tell us what the situation is like on the ground.
What do you say about the increase?
It's too much. They should rather reduce the 380, which they used to charge previously.
But now it has come to
491.
Were you aware it was increased before today?
No. I wasn't aware.
So when you came here, that's when you got to know that it was increased.
We went there to pay.
But were you able to go through the process?
Well, if you don't pay, you come and lie on the machine.
Okay.
So you have to squeeze everything to get the 491. So we are appealing to them to reduce it. It's too much. That's almost 500.
Yeah.
And you are supposed to go 2 times in a week.
That's hard.
That's 1,000.
Yes.
It's too much.
Uncle, thank you.
And you heard a renal patient there speaking to Noble Cosby Annan from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We'll be returning to this story very shortly, but the opposition National Democratic Congress has described as unprofessional the arrest of the Member of Parliament for Sutufi South, Collins Dauda. The police, in a statement in the early hours of Sunday, the 12th of May, said that it had arrested Alhaji Collins Dauda for his alleged involvement in the disturbances which occurred at Kukum in the Afful region during the ongoing limited voter registration exercise on Saturday, the 11th of May 2024. Now, it said that the police was also pursuing other suspects in connection with the incident. The violence is reported to have occurred when some thugs walked to the venue and allegedly attacked prospective registrants in the ongoing limited voter registration exercise. It took some hours before a police reinforcement was reportedly brought in to calm the situation. But that was just a part of other violent occurrences that occurred over the weekend. Sarah Pinko joins us in the studio with some more. Sarah, we know that there were cases in the Ashanti and other regions as well. Take us through.
So, the police statement, it says that there was a case in Cape Coast, Central Region, Kukum, Ahafo Region, and Dujaman, Ashanti Region. And then the police said they have also made some arrests in respect to this particular incidents that have happened in these regions.
Okay, so the NDC has also issued a statement condemning the action of the police in terms of, it says, the hasty way it arrested Collins Dauda. Can you give us the flesh of that statement?
Well, the NDC statement basically is explaining that the MP in question was not present at the scene of the crime. He was just briefed at the station by the police officers and the EC officers on duty. So they are actually saying the police was hasty in coming out with a statement when the man in question was not arrested for the acts that were perpetrated by some alleged MPP executives at the police center.
All right. And do we know whether Collins Dauda has been released yet?
Well, per the statement, it says that he had not been arrested. So it doesn't say whether he's been released or not. They are saying that he was not arrested as the police was being said. So he's been home since yesterday.
Thank you very much, Sarah Pinko, bringing us details of what happened at various registration centers in the ongoing limited voter registration exercise. I'm joined by Mustafa Bande. He's Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Hello? Hello, Mr. Bande. Can you hear us? All right, it seems you're having challenges with the line to Mustafa Bande there. He's the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. As soon as we have him, we'll bring you that conversation. But ahead of that, Fix the Country convener Oliver Bakavomao has expressed his dissatisfaction with the delays that have occasioned his treason felony trial. Despite multiple court appearances in the last 2 years, the case was to start today, but this did not happen, leaving the youth activist unhappy. Lord Edwasari is there, joins us live with some more. Lord, do we know exactly why the trial did not start?
Hearing of the treason felony trial of the country convener Oliver Bakavomao was expected to happen here at the Accra High Court, the Criminal Court 3 to be precise, but this did not take place as the judge hearing the matter, Justice Mary Yanzu, was assigned or has been assigned, and so the case has been adjourned to next week, May 20. Now, we caught up with the convener of the country, Oliver Bakavomao, and this is what he had to say about this development. You recall that this case has been spanning for the past 2 years, and last night, ahead of the trial this morning, he made a clarion call on Twitter or X, garnering support for people or to come and support him here this morning.
We've come here. It's been 2 years on trumped-up charges by the regime security. That they have always insisted that I wanted to overthrow the republic or to overthrow this government. Again, it is only an indictment of their own record. They are understanding that they have so badly led this country that every mindful citizen, every sane individual want them out of office. But we are committed to the rule of law and to the democracy we have subscribed to. Ghanaians will show them the way out. I have zero interest in engaging in a coup d'etat. Those whose business is this to engage in coup d'etat If they do it, maybe Ghanaians will give them their support. But as it stands now, we have always been clear that our advocacy and what we are doing is entitled to engineer for the rest of Ghanaians the justice that our democracy procures. So then we showed up here in court, and as has been the play for the past 2 years, the court, without any reference to anybody, we were just informed that the Chief Justice has assigned the judge on some course, and so it has been adjourned. We come back again on the 20th of May. As to whether or not the same charade is going to continue, we don't know. But we will continue to show up and expect justice from the institutions that the Republic has created.
So that was Oliver Baka-Vomao. Lord is still with us. Lord, we know Baka-Vomao has another case in court. Which case is that, and what has he been saying about it, really?
Well, Baka-Vomao has also been commenting about the updates on his case with the National Security Minister, Khan Dapa. You recall that he's in court. The National Security Minister took him to court over some allegations that he made against him. This is what he had to say regarding that case as well.
He tried offering money that failed, and when he was called out publicly, he ran to seek the protection of the courts. We are here with that matter has continued for how long now? When we asked him to disclose whether or not they use national security apparatus to harass and to surveil the country individuals, as he threatened he would do if I refused the money, he came back claiming that national security duties require him to refrain from answering the question. So we are in the Supreme Court as to whether or not those activities that they conducted, the illegal surveillance they conducted, the harassment that the country suffered at the hands of the regime forces is something which national security should protect and cover. That's something we are in the Supreme Court over, and we'll see how that turns out.
And you heard the Fix the Country convener, Oliver Baka-Vomao. Earlier you heard Lord Edwasa reporting live from the court. Well, Mr. Baka-Vomao has always maintained that his trial is nothing but a political witch hunt geared at silencing his movement, which has been advocating a new constitution. And let's return to our story earlier about the arrest of Colin Stauder. Mustafa Gbande is Deputy General Secretary. He joins us live on the line. Hopefully we hear him now. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me, Beatrice.
So we've read your statement, and you seem to suggest that Mr. Colin Stauder was not even arrested in the first place as published by the police administration. So what report really do you have?
Exactly so, because we can only say that the said publication of Facebook posts by the Ghana Police Service is an alarmist position because when bandits under the sponsorship of the MPP have taken over a whole community, no one goes, no one comes, from morning to evening about 3 p.m. The police called for reinforcement. It didn't deter them. And then, under the circumstances, they can as best be classified as suspects for disorder.
But Mr. Gbande, you are aware that the police have interdicted 3 persons, so you cannot say that the police looked on whilst nothing happened. At least the national administration has taken action.
Saying that when the police have failed to arrest those suspects, and citizens who are victims of the actions of these bandits decide to defend themselves, then you rather write a Facebook post purporting to have arrested a victim instead of the suspect.
So you're saying
we turn the law upside down.
So you're saying that Colin Stauder was never arrested. That's what you're saying.
He's not been arrested.
So
he's doing his work. In fact, he wasn't there. He was in his constituency working.
I'm aware in that statement you said that he was in his constituency. So you're saying that he's a free man going about his normal business.
The only reason why they did what they did in that statement is because they claimed that they had seen a car branded with Colin Stauder's picture, photos. So if my son or any other person attached to me decide to take my car to a particular place and they can, I become the prime suspect. Is that what they are saying? In that statement, you said that a number of NDC supporters were allegedly injured in that. What is the party going to do about it briefly for before we end our conversation? We are taking note of the injuries of our party people. We are waiting on the police, just as they know how to write Facebook posts, to arrest these bandits who the MPP have sponsored into that constituency. In fact, some stakeholders of the new Patriotic Party and government officials have tried to render the place as a terrorist zone for all criminal activities.
I'm sorry. What evidence do you have? I don't think that it's fair to say that that
you need
NPP
evidence to classify a group of people who have incentivized themselves to sponsor people with arms to a particular place to take the whole legislating process to hostage. Do you need evidence to say that?
I think that the police will have to investigate whichever claims are there and the intention of any action by any individual at polling centers. But we'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Mustafa Bande. He is Deputy General Secretary of the Opposition NDC. Thank you for speaking to us. Now, security analyst Dr. Adam Bona is calling on the Speaker of Parliament to institute a probe into the conduct of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, over the controversy surrounding the stash of money found in the home of former Minister for Sanitation, Cecilia Dapa. Dr. Bona says that EOCO failed in not ensuring that Cecilia Dapa's seized cash did not return to her. He wants a bipartisan parliamentary probe into the matter to unearth the truth about EOCO's conduct in the matter and other happenings at the Anti-Fraud Office.
I have a feeling EOCO is not telling us the truth. And I can say with certainty that EOCO has also become the headquarters of corruption.
Hello.
There is a need to investigate what happened between these two institutions under the executive. These two institutions, EOCO and Special Prosecutor, are both under the Attorney General's office. And so to have EOCO being handed over the file to investigate this under money laundering, which comes under them, and to have the EOCO come back and forth and later tell us that, well, they couldn't do anything about it, if you ask me, is mind-boggling. And as a citizen and not a spectator, I would ask for an inquest. I would ask the Right Honourable Speaker and by extension Parliament to institute a probe. That is the only way we'll get to know. There are a lot of things that are going on within EOCO that some of us find very unfortunate. And probably when these things begin to unfold, maybe if the Speaker is minded to give an extended terms of reference. I mean, this is not to say I know what is going to happen, but if the Speaker would do this, I believe that we are going to have Ghanaians come out and tell the committee, if there is a bipartisan probe, the committee, what they know. And I can say with certainty that the boss of EOCO is not telling Ghanaians the truth.
Dr. Adam Bona is a security analyst. Now, the Asantehene Otunfo Setutu II says that he remains committed to eliminating the scourge of galamsey from the country. Illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey, continues to ravage land and the country's vegetation cover, poisoning water bodies along the way. Speaking during the Grand Durbar of the Akwasidaya Kese, Otunfo pledged his commitment to ending the menace.
Education remains our priority, but probably an even higher priority must be the reclamation of our environment from the ravages of galamsey. We cannot be the generation that destroyed the most precious heritage bequeathed to us by our forefathers to satisfy the greed of a few miscreants. For whatever it takes, we must defeat this scourge.
You heard Asantehene Otunfo Setutu II speaking earlier. This afternoon, hundreds of residents of Jaglu in the Wa West district of the Upper West region are taking their destinies into their own hands, with many self-medicating over a lack of well-resourced health facility. A nursery school block converted into a mobile community-based health planning and services compound is not serving its purpose. The facility has been left without equipment for healthcare services. Residents have to trek longer hours to access healthcare services. Here is a report by Ibrahim Wangara.
Residents of the farming community, especially women and children, have been adversely affected by the lack of health care. And though a nurse was posted to the facility, the lack of functional BP apparatus, weighing scale, thermometer, among others, is affecting service delivery to the community, which hosts a population of about 900 residents. Kundeiri Angnu and Paulina Jongo have been sharing their ordeals as mothers.
I find it extremely frustrating to seek health service in my community. I was advised to go to the nearest health center, but our road is in poor condition and there's no means of transport available. When a woman is in labor, we usually have to transport her on a motorbike to the nearest health facility. Unfortunately, this often results in miscarriages or even the mother giving birth on the way to the hospital.
The community health officer posted to the facility, Elvis Derry, says the lack of logistics is extremely frustrating.
A client has come to assess healthcare, but I'm supposed to take her BP, check her temperature, take her weight before I'll be able to know what is wrong with her. But there are no logistics. None of the logistics, I don't have anything.
The chief of the area, Na Danyangiri Ibrahim, is calling on the assembly and other benevolent organizations to come to their aid. We are facing numerous challenges in our community, including issues with healthcare, road infrastructure, and school facilities. Many women in our community suffer from health complications during childbirth. Reacting to the concerns of residents, the District Director of Health Services, Cecilia Kakariba, admitted the crisis being faced by the people.
We are aware of Jalo health access issues. We were able to identify some of the challenges, some of the logistics they need. So we send them registers and other equipment that they are using. If they are not having BP apparatus, then it will have problem.
And that was Ibrahim Wangara's report read to you. And that's how we end the news here on 3FM. Our top stories. Cost of dialysis across the country increased by almost 30% as prices inch closer to the 500 cedi mark. We brought you some details. Also, Opposition NDC describes police's arrest of its MP Collins Dauda as unprofessional, denying the involvement of the Esutufi South MP in the electoral violence at Kukom that left several hospitalized in the Afful region. You heard Deputy General Secretary there saying that the MP was not even arrested in the first place. And we just brought you that story about residents of Jaglu in the Wild West district self-medicating as the only chips compound in the area has been left abandoned without resources and equipment. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
They are coming.
0.7 9 to 2. Urban Life 7.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time now for Business Daily. And coming up, Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, rules out negative impact of exodus of multinational companies on foreign direct investment.
Many of those who are leaving so for their own strategic reasons. Some of them are quitting the African market, but we are also attracting some very interesting investors.
Also, experts says dominance of telecommunications companies in Ghana's fintech ecosystem could stifle innovation.
And as we've seen with the Polgo multipurpose dam, which we've been crying, that government have to blow $12 million for no work done. We are seeing the same thing happening with the PFG 2.0.
Plus, peasant farmers express disappointment over progress of planting for food and jobs phase 2. We'll bring you details of these stories and more. Do stay tuned. Thanks for your time. Straight to our first story. Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, has ruled out any negative impact of the recent exit of some multinational companies on its foreign direct investment drive. Recently, there were reports about some companies exiting the country for various reasons, including profitability concerns. But speaking to 3 Business at the 3i Africa Summit organized by the Central Bank, Chief Executive of the GIPC, Yofi Grant, said the country, through his outfit, is attracting even more multinationals into the country.
Investors come and go, and situations around the world may make one area attractive, much more attractive. Not that you are not attractive, but somebody creates bigger space, more reforms, and suddenly you look unattractive comparatively. But I think that many of those who are leaving so for their own strategic reasons. Some of them are quitting the African market. Some of them I know there's been one big one, and people say, well, we've heard they are leaving, and I say, well, they might have their reasons. But we are also attracting some very interesting investors. This past few months have been much more busy than previous months. I mean, I'm constantly being called by big stage investors to look at what we can do. I mean, we have access to investors from Thailand who are looking at the automotive sector and thinking that, well, maybe Ghana is a good place to locate for the African continent. We are already talking to big textiles and garments manufacturers who have actually come to Ghana. Some of them have registered and are looking at the export market as well. And then on the back of AFCFTA and our one district, one factory policy, they think that Ghana looks extremely attractive.
Yofi Grant is Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Away from that, Peasant Farmers Association has expressed their disappointment over the progress of the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2. According to the Executive Secretary of the Association, Dr. Charles Nyaba, the 2024 planting season is far gone, yet not a single support has been provided to a farmer under the program. He believes what is happening with the PFJ2 is not different from that of the Polugu multi-purpose dam construction, where over 12 million cedis has been spent for no work done.
Service providers have not even received a notification that they've been selected to supply inputs to aggregators. And as we are aware, most of our inputs, such as the fertilizer, the seeds, mechanization, have to be imported. So when are they going to get their contracts to now start importing? And if they import, when will they get into the country for farmers to get used to? Aggregators were asked to submit proposals indicating the areas where they are already operating. Those aggregators that are selected and given contract are reassigned to different districts. And in those districts, they don't have logistics there, they don't have warehouses, they don't know the farmers. Even in some occasions, they took them to different regions where the people don't even understand the languages in those regions. Complaints has been laid to the ministry, but they are so adamant. Farmers, as we speak, are not even aware of what is going to happen this year.
Meanwhile, the Peasant Farmers Association has also urged government to go beyond just registering farmers for the second phase of the Planting for Food and Jobs, following the announcement by Minister Dr. Brian Champong aiming to register about 2 million farmers in 2024. Now, the Executive Director of PFAG, Dr. Charles Nyaba, expressed these concerns that as of last month, their checks indicated less than 5% of farmers had been registered.
So are you telling me that from now until June, we are able to reach the 2 million farmers? The problem is not even about registration. If you register farmers without the support coming, what value has it got? If you travel across the Middle Belt to southern Ghana, this is the time farmers should have been applying fertilizers and other inputs. Northern Ghana, majority of farmers have prepared their land and waiting for the rains to start planting. The ministry has engaged aggregators under the POG 2.0 who will be in the center of the project implementation. But the whole thing is already a mess up. Aggregators and their farmers have built a strong value chain. Now the ministry decided to give some of these aggregators a contract and reassign them to different districts where they don't have records of those farmers. They've never worked with them. They don't have logistics in those areas. They keep complaining to the ministry and they appear not to be bothered.
Dr. Charles Nyaba is the Executive Secretary of Peasant Farmers Association. In more stories, President of the Institute of Internal Auditors Ghana, Joseph Dakra, is calling on auditors across the country to help in the fight against corruption. To expose individuals who offer them bribe to cover their corrupt practices, he cautions that their activities go a long way to save lives, and by choosing to close their eyes to corrupt officials, they help to kill businesses and dreams. He made the call at the closing ceremony of the 2024 Audit Month in Accra.
The advice we have been giving to auditors is this: if you want to have your peace of mind when you go to bed, you better unearth the ills that there are in society so that we can deal with them. If you become a part of the perpetrators of those ills in society, then either today or tomorrow, you will be discovered. If you are not discovered, the wrongs and the hurt that you cause to society will come back to hurt you. I know, I mean, at the opening ceremonies, I was asked a question as to why should auditors do that at the peril of their jobs? And my answer to that was that if you fear to lose your job, you will actually end up losing your life. Because the wrongs that we commit, their consequences will come back to bite us. And when they come to bite us, right now the wrongs that are being committed are leading to deaths of other people. And if we encourage the wrongs to be done, eventually we will all end up losing our lives. We will have no jobs, because when you are not alive, you have no job. If organizations are heavily corrupted, those organizations don't survive. And when they don't survive, we don't get jobs.
You heard the voice of President of the Institute of Internal Auditors Ghana, Joseph Dakra Fair. Well, that will be all for Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please log on to our website on 3news.com. I am Manu. Afful, do stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next.
They are coming from all over the country and even beyond. They are coming to take their place at the table of champions. It's not just a race, it is a movement.
3FM presents Tour du Ghana 2024, the ultimate cycling event, a tour of sheer endurance.
I wake up early every weekday because of you, to keep you on top of your game. Yeah!
You are at the center of our universe. That's why we make it a duty to serve you only the freshest, hottest news and entertainment. When you want it, where you want it.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Start your day well informed.